A Miami sailor is in a Jamaican jail accused of murder for hire. The case is also connected to a Jamaican member of parliament who the suspect once had a relationship with. NBC6's Jamie Gorilla is live in Miami with this international saga. Jamie.
Yeah, that woman, the U.S. Navy confirms, is a petty officer. Tonight, she's facing charges of kidnapping and murder. Bradshaw is a U.S. Navy petty officer assigned to a talent acquisition team here in Miami. This is Bradshaw walking out of a Jamaican courtroom after being charged. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution in Jamaica alleges Bradshaw and her cousin hired two men to murder a child and her mother.
A U.S. Navy petty officer has been arrested on accusation of orchestrating an unalive for hire plot to take a woman and her baby's life in Jamaica connected to a member of parliament there whom she had a relationship with. Philip Powell, who is a member of parliament from Kingston East and Port Royal, has made a social media plea in the week following the disappearance of his baby's mother and his daughter. He said that the last week has been very horrific for me. I have dealt with many things in my life, but the disappearance of my daughter and her mother is by far the most difficult thing I have ever had to navigate. I have spent most of my time since their disappearance in dialogue with the police and persons who I believe could assist in locating them. At this point, nothing has brought us closer to finding them. I am personally pleading with anyone who has any information, the slightest clue as to their whereabouts, to contact the police, a family member, or me. Leota Bradshaw, 34, would be indicted last week in connection with the kidnapping and unaliving of Toshina Patterson, 27, and her 10-month-old daughter, Soraya Powell. Leota had a relationship and a child with Philip Powell, as well as she considered him to be her spouse, the Office and Director of Public Prosecution in Kingston said in a news release. Leota will make a visit to Jamaica on September 6th, and in an apparent act of vengeance, hatched a plan with three men to kidnap and unalive Toshina and her child. The three men were Leota's cousins, Roland Balfour, Richard Brown, and Roshan Miller. The plan included Leota making partial payments to the men, the prosecutor said. In a conversation from September 6th to the 9th, the men agreed under Leota's direction to kidnap and unalive Toshina and her daughter, and on September 9th is when the plot was carried out. Leota took Toshina and the baby from their home in Kingston in a tinted SUV and subsequently delivered them to the men, including two of her co-conspirators in St. Andrews, according to the report. It was further alleged that Toshina and her daughter were forcibly taken to an area in East Kingston and unalived by these said men who were armed with firearms. The Jamaican Constabulary Force Deputy Commissioner of Police, Fitz Bailey, said at a news conference that their bodies were burned and disposed of after their unaliving, and he called the case one of the most painful investigations that the force has seen in recent times. Authorities did not explicitly state a motive for the slaying, but Leota was indicted on 2 counts of conspiracy to kidnap, 2 counts of conspiracy to murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 2 counts of capital murder. Richard Brown was indicted on 2 counts of conspiracy to kidnap, 2 counts on conspiracy to murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 2 counts of murder. Roshan Miller and Roland Bilford were each indicted on 2 counts of accessory before the fact to kidnap and 2 counts of accessory before the fact to murder. The indictments were submitted before the Home Circuit Court, and Leota and Roland appeared in that Home Circuit Court on October 13th and are scheduled to return December 1st. NBC News will reach out to the attorney for Leota, Bert Samuels, and he told them that Roland intended to plead not guilty, which will be entered once trial begins. He said the attorneys have not been given the full discovery in the case yet. The matter was fast-tracked by going straight to the Supreme Court, so the matter is moving along swiftly, and we're hoping that the trial will come soon, where we can put forward the defense, Samuel said. The U.S. Navy confirmed that Leota was a petty officer assigned to the talent acquisition team in Miami. In a statement, the Navy said it takes all allegations of misconduct seriously and is cooperating with the investigation and law enforcement authorities. The matter is currently under investigation by Jamaican authorities and the Navy Criminal Investigation Service, the Navy said. Leota made a statement and it said, "My name is Leota Bradshaw. I am a federal officer. I have a daughter with Mr. Philip Paulwell, and we are in a long-term relationship. I wish to state categorically that I have absolutely nothing to do with the disappearance of Miss Toshina Patterson and our baby girl. The only interaction I have ever had with Miss Patterson is through a brief Facebook exchange. I wish to share the sequence of events leading up to my exchange with Miss Patterson. In May 2023, my 8-year-old daughter with Philip was sent sexually explicit photos, which were later followed by email threats and extortion attempts. The matter was reported to the FBI, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the Broward County Sheriff's Department, Internet Crime Against Children. They later reported the matter to the Jamaican authorities. The threat against our child continued for months as the authorities investigated. On Sunday, September 3rd, an email was sent to the parliamentary group making threats that personal information on Philip would be released to the public. They also made demanding threats against our child. On Tuesday, September 5th, I received an email from a Jessica Dean advising me she had been trying to contact me for months on Facebook to inform me that Miss Patterson had a child with Philip. I spoke to Philip and he confirmed that he had a brief relationship with Miss Patterson and it is possible that the child was his, but he was not certain as a DNA test had not yet been done. Following my conversation with Philip, I searched my Facebook history and noticed in my spam chat messages from an account with the name Jessica Dean, who had a PNP logo as her profile photo. She says she had been trying to reach out to me since June to bring to my attention the fact that Miss Patterson's child was Philip's. This was the first time I was hearing about Miss Patterson and the child. I also noticed that Miss Patterson had searched my profile on LinkedIn 4 weeks ago and again 2 weeks before the emails came. On Tuesday, September 5th, I sent Miss Patterson a message on Facebook Messenger advising her that Philip had opened up to me about their involvement and that the possibility they may have a child. I advised her that Philip and I would ensure the child is taken care of financially and a DNA test would be done to ensure that Philip was the father of the child. That was the only time I had any interaction with Miss Patterson. I have never spoken to her by phone, nor have I made any arrangements to meet with her. Any such reports in social media are lies and will be passed on to my lawyer for actions to be taken in the days ahead. However, the aunt of China reveals that an X-rated video of Philip and her niece was found in his phone by his other baby's mother, Leota. The aunt also said Leota lied when she said Philip was going to do a DNA to see if the child was his, as he was sending money already for the child every month. The family also issued a public statement in relation to Toshina and baby Soraya. It was a contract hit for a total of 500,000 Jamaican dollars. Before her unaliving, Toshina was a policy advisor in Jamaica and manager director at Chemist Pest Company Limited, and did her studies at the University of the West Indies, Mona. She and her daughter will be deeply missed. Philip will share a statement on Instagram after his child's mother and child were found deceased. He said, "I have prayed unceasingly for the safe return of Toshina and my daughter Soraya, and I am heartbroken that the worst has happened. Nothing could have prepared me for the events that unfolded since all of this has taken place and the alleged discoveries. That anyone could murder a mother and an innocent baby is unimaginable, and my heart is heavy with sadness." And he did not acknowledge a relationship with Leota. What Leota is alleged to have done to this mother and child is horrendous and a whole different level of cruel. Envy and jealousy is a dangerous thing, and to have a mother and a child shot multiple times and then burned is evil to the core. Then for multiple men to take part for a few dollars is disgusting. How could they look at them and do what they did? There was a video made after the unaliving and after the confession for one of the men that used live story through AI, which animates a person's face and mouth so it looks like they're talking and telling their life story. Here's an account of what happened from Toshina's live story.
My name is Toshina Patterson, and this is my 10-month-old daughter, Soraya Paulwell. She is also the daughter of Philip Paulwell, Member of Parliament for the constituency of Kingston East in Jamaica. On September 9th, 2023, at about 7 a.m., Leota Bradshaw, Philip's other baby mother, pulled up to my house on Gilmore Drive, Kingston 20. She had been blowing up my phone trying to get me out of my house. I went outside with Soraya and got into the vehicle. We were there for about 22 minutes when we went with Leota. Little did I know Leota had been plotting. On the 5th of September, Leota had contacted me on Facebook claiming to be Philip's wife after learning about my baby from a strange page with a PNP logo on it, going by the name Jessica Dean. Who was that? We had a brief conversation because I blocked her after she suggested that I do a DNA test for my child to prove that Philip was her father. The next day she came to Jamaica on a wicked mission. September 6th, the very next day, she was in Jamaica and linked up with her cousin Roland Balfour, and together they contracted men to murder me and my innocent child for 500,000 Jamaican dollars. They met up with a man called Roshane Miller and another man called Richard Brown to arrange the heartless acts. She gave them a down payment of 100,000 Jamaican dollars and assured them that she will give them the rest once me and my baby are no longer breathing. The men went to my address that night to scope out the area. They met with Leota in Stony Hill, where she had been staying, and had an official meeting on how exactly they were going to get rid of us. After the SUV drove off with me and my baby that morning, they took us to Waraka Hill. My baby was a happy, loving baby. She was there in her little pink onesie, playing with the men who were there with Leota. Suddenly, the mood shifted. I caught on that something was wrong. I realized that I had made a horrible mistake. My poor innocent baby watched me as I begged for her life, but their minds were made up. Leota was their dictator. I could see exactly what was going on, but I just wanted my baby to be safe. One of the men shot my baby in her head, then emptied 3 shots into her lifeless body. It was now my turn. He pointed the gun to my head, and the last words I heard was, "Leave people man alone." Our charred, decomposing remains were found in Waraka Hill after one of the men who was responsible for our horrific demise confessed to the police out of fear of dying by the hands of another hitman. We need justice to the full extent of the law. Jamaica, don't fail us.
My thoughts are with this family and all involved. Please comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in this difficult time, and hit that like button to share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.